All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. It's about 10 p.m. on a Monday evening. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Of course, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You could be somewhere else in the country, around the world, but no matter where your time zone is or what time you're watching this, always appreciate it. We're going to be getting a possible hurricane coming our way in the next day or two, so I figured keep my mind off that stuff. I'd do a quick little video and this is a recommendation of a book that's gone down a little bit recently, but that's the time to strike because remember, ladies and gentlemen, when you do investments, and if you are doing investments when it comes to comic books, even partially, with any investment, it's buy low and sell high. Obviously, that's what should be done, but unfortunately, that's not what many people do. And this is a book I've recommended for years and I'm going to explain why I feel that this comic is going to be something you're going to regret passing on if you have not gotten it already. And I don't like comics. Good to see you again, good sir, all the way from Canada. Welcome. Appreciate you coming back. While we're waiting for people to come in, because I just randomly, when I decide to make a video, put a video up without any advance warning. So if anybody, when they watch this, whether you're watching it live or watching it later on, if you want to critique the AI art, which I just made this yesterday, the detail in the AI art is getting amazing, and just wanted to show this off. So if you want to critique it either positively or negatively, leave it in the comment section. Always appreciate those kind of people who take the time to leave a comment. Looking to get some more Patreon members because once we get to 20, I got giveaways that I'm going to start doing for my Patreon members as a thank you. And if you join my Patreon, even if you do the minimum, which is $2 for joining anybody's Patreon, um, you will get your name on here and listed in every single video I do. That's my way of saying thank you. Now, normally when somebody joins Patreon, it gives a person's full name. I'll never give out somebody's full personal information, so I'll use just their first name or maybe last initial, for example. But if you'd like me to, instead of doing just your name, if you'd like me to share a social network or maybe an eBay store instead, just let me know at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Two of the people on here have asked for that. And both of them appreciate when anybody joins them. So let's give a shout out to Carl Sith, Scott, Michael B, Kevin W, James R, Dan L, Tim N, Annabelle N, Jason B, and Stephen L. If you have Facebook, check out Darth Bleak. He just wrote a book recently. He's got a series of books that he's writing. He was kind enough to send me a signed copy and then was kind enough to do a contest and give out, I think, either 4 or 5 signed copies of his book. It's going to be a series of books that he's doing. So I'm looking forward to the second book once it's completed. But if you check him out, it's Stephen L. Turk on his Facebook page. Tell him We Love Comics sent you. Go support our fellow community because that's what comic book communities are supposed to be all about. And then last but not least, if you have Instagram, check out Silver Age Surfer _comics. Um, he messages me every time somebody joins his Instagram, so it means that it's something that's appreciated. So if you have a free moment, go check him out. Tell him We Love Comics sent you. So if you want to go to patreon.com/we love comics, if we get to 20 people, and I'm not looking for a lot of people, I'm going to start doing giveaways. So I'll ship it anywhere in the world, even to my good friend I don't like comics from Canada. I will pay for the shipping. And as more members join, the tiers will get better and better. So if you want to be a part of it, please join at patreon.com/we love comics. There is no minimum to join the contest, other than the minimum to join anybody's Patreon. But for every $2 you put into your We Love Comics Patreon account, you'll get a single entry. So the more you put in, the more chances you'll get. And again, like I said, I'll ship all around the world and I will pay for shipping and handling. So it really will not cost you anything. And I have videos that I've shown some of the baseball packs. I mean, you're talking like unopened packs from 1991, another one from 1986. Some good stuff. So check it out. looking to make some trades. I haven't had one yet. Gonna keep doing it until I make it happen. I want to show people if you don't give up and you stay positive and you're consistent with your goals, eventually you can achieve them. So I'm looking for books like Amazing Fantasy 15. Never owned that book. I would love to own even a zero point 0.5 of that. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man has always been my superhero growing up as a child. Love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, first print, and all the others you see there. Um, Anything on my shelves or anything in my videos is potentially up for a trade. If it takes 10, 15, 20 of my books to get one of these, as long as it's a fair trade, be more than happy to do it. The advantages of doing a trade is number one, neither party has to spend literally thousands of dollars to get these books that they may or may not be able to spend. So that's awesome right there. You don't have to worry about, especially if you buy from a comic book store or you buy on eBay, you don't have to worry about literally hundreds of dollars in taxes. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, trades are not taxable. So you don't have to worry about that at the end of the year when you're filing your taxes. So there's a 100% perfectly legal way to be able to acquire things and save yourself a lot of money. So contact me, peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com, if you would like to do that. Before I show the book, this is not an unboxing. I'm just going to show a book that I have, and I highly recommend you get it if you haven't gotten it. But let's give a shout out to people in the live chat. If you're new, and I see I got a bunch of new subscribers all of a sudden, how interesting about that. But welcome to the new people, whether you're here for good or for evil, that's fine. I appreciate the viewership, whether you thumb up or thumb down a video. I thank you for taking the time to spend a moment with me. So if you want to join the live chat at the end of the video, I always do a surprise subscriber shout out. You don't even have to be a subscriber, but hey, hit subscribe if you want to. All you have to do is participate in the live chat, and I will pick two people that will be picked as the surprise subscriber shout out, and then I will be more than happy to help them hopefully get some views on their channel or their social network, or maybe somewhere they sell something on eBay, Instagram, Facebook Marketplace, blah, blah, blah. So again, I don't like comics. Welcome, first person to leave a comment. Always love this name, Constipated in Sin City. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. He says, "Hey, Chris, do you like the band Eagles?" I'll tell you a funny story about that. Absolutely love the band Eagles. When I had my massage therapy license and I owned my own massage business, I actually named my massage business Peaceful Feelings. I was originally going to call it Peaceful Easy Feelings from the Eagles song, but my friends suggested you may not want the word easy in the massage name. So I thought that was actually kind of funny. It wasn't that kind of massage place. It was definitely not a massage parlor. It was a legit business that I owned, but it was inspired by the Eagles. Love when I did karaoke, love singing Hotel California. Another one of my favorites is the best line ever. And if you know the name of the song, I'm going to put this in the comment section. If you have to look it up, that's kind of cheating. But I'm going to name a phrase, a line in an Eagles song, and let's see who can guess, whether you're in the live chat or later on when you watch it, when it's been uploaded. Guess what the name of the song is if you could figure it out, okay? The line goes as follows, and I absolutely love this line. They will never forget you till somebody new comes along. So if you know the name of that Eagles song without looking those words up, lyrics.com, put it in the live chat or in the comments section. But absolutely. So if there's any reason why you're asking if I like the band Eagles, let me know. I don't like comics says I'm from city of Cambridge, Ontario. Nice. I'm sure it's getting a little cold there, so hopefully you're staying warm. Lee Smith, the 80s Cardinals closer, is here. Wow, we got some royalty. Lee Smith, good to see you. Agar Rhythm, always a pleasure. Louis V, Don Henley rocks. Absolutely. Even his solo, when he left the Eagles and went solo, New York Minute, absolutely love that song. When I was doing karaoke, I used to sing that all the time. So I agree with that. Tokan Joe comic review. You're new here. Welcome, says hello. I don't like comics, Hotel California. That line is not from Hotel California. Hudat is here. He's one of my moderators. He has an awesome YouTube channel. Please go subscribe to him and go check him out. Says hello and good evening, everyone, and WLC. Welcome, who that? Always good to see you here. Constipated in Sin City says, I saw them here Saturday night at the Sphere here in Las Vegas. Wow, they're still touring? Aren't they like 120 at this point? I used to teach massage therapies here at is that Dahanas Institute? Nice. See, what a small world. Yeah, I was a licensed massage therapist. Graduated in 95 at December of 95. Worked at a salon in 96 until 2002 when I decided to get my own business and did very well, as a matter of fact, for a while until, 2000, until, well, I would say probably about 2015. Things weren't going as well at that point because of the economy after 2008. But hey, you got to live your life. Constipated in Sin City. Hopefully you enjoyed that concert. I'd love to see him. Boys of Summer. No, that is incorrect as well. New Kid in Town. So there you go. Now, Constipated, you got it right. But let me ask, did you look that up? Be honest. But yeah, the answer is New Kid in Town. Absolutely love that line. It's about a relationship gone bad, and the girl leaves him and moves on and finds somebody else, and he's basically heartbroken. And the line comes, and this holds true for anybody in a relationship. You ever hear somebody say after a breakup that, oh, I'll never love again, and then you meet somebody? So that line says, they will never forget you till somebody new comes along. Absolutely love that line. So good job at that, Constipated. Lee Smith says, play ball. So there you go. If anybody wants to see if he'll sign some old autograph cards, if you have any old Cardinals baseball cards, I'm sure he'll be nice enough to sign them for free. Laura V, another person I haven't seen before. Welcome. Nobody can chill with a 16-year-old with some coke like Don. If he does, that's pretty sad. Unfortunately, that's seems to be the norm these days in Hollywood. Well, I wouldn't even say these days. People think like the whole P. Diddy thing. Um, that's not anything new, unfortunately. I'll give advice to people if you think this is new, and hopefully that's not true, but if it is, that's kind of pathetic. Anybody that does anything with a minor, in my opinion, should be at best um put in a prison with no windows. But if you actually read the autobiography of Shirley Temple. Now, Shirley Temple was a child star in the 1920s and 30s. It might even be earlier than that, where she makes some interesting claims about people even back then in Hollywood. And she was a young little girl, about 6, 7 years old. There are some really creepy people who deserve really bad things to happen to them in Hollywood and even in other places. So if Don Henley has done that, that's kind of pathetic and it's sad. And that's all I could say about that. I'm sure many people would agree. I mean, you're doing stuff which I mean, especially, and I'll get to the comic obviously because I'm just having fun reading comments from you guys. I never understood, I could never justify it ever, but I can maybe justify it a little bit more if it's some 400-pound guy who's never seen a girl in his life and is a loner and broke and tries to do anything they can to get somebody to like them. Not saying it's right, but I can say I can almost understand that. But a person that makes millions of dollars and is famous and can get anybody they want and they still choose to be, as Scooby-Doo would say, a redophile, that's pretty sad and don't understand it, but I guess it's good that I don't understand it. Let's see. You've been to 500 concerts in your lifetime. Geez, you got a lot of free time, my friend. Congratulations on that. I remember back in the late 80s and 90s, I used to go to a lot of concerts, but nothing near that. So kudos to you to have that kind of free time and that kind of money. I wanted to see, my all-time favorite band was Kiss growing up, and I saw them back, when the original band split up, and they had, I think it was Eric Carr playing the drums. This is when they had their makeup off, right before he died of, I think, pneumonia. Um, they didn't have their makeup on at the time. It was the only time I saw them in concert. But when they were doing their reunion tour, I wanted to see them. They wanted like $1,000 for bad seats. I'm like, I loved Kiss and I love many different groups. I don't care if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would not spend thousands of dollars to go see somebody in concert where I could literally go on YouTube and just watch endless videos of what they do. Um, I mean, hey, if you got that kind of money and everything, more power to you. I hope you had a great time with it. All right, so if you want to leave some questions, comments, statements, anything else in the live chat, please do. I love the fact that I'm getting more and more people participating in the live chat and really appreciate. I think I got 10 new subscribers this overnight. I kind of think I know the reason why, but still appreciate it nonetheless. So let's put on the video camera and I'm going to show the book. You guys that follow my channel all the time know I do my rants, and if you guys are asking questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. But this book, let's see how many people can guess it. This is a graded book. This is a book I bought raw and actually got it graded, I think in 2016 or 2017 by CGC before I even knew about pressings and dry cleanings were ever a thing. So at some point I'm going to crack this open and get this pressed and dry cleaned because I have that deal with PGX and probably get a grade bump. But let's see if you know what book this is just based on that. Who that comics and movies? You are correct. Ultimate Fallout 4. Now, I'm going to explain why I believe now is the time to get this book if you do not have it. Which, by the way, I am the number one person that has recommended Ultimate Fallout 4 since you could buy that book for $10. As a matter of fact, in show, because I always put the price I paid $45 for this book, and that's including about the $30 plus whatever shipping to get this graded at CGC. I bought that book for $10. You want first print. The way you can tell the first print is you cannot see his face. Now, the others, especially if you don't have the money to be able to afford one of these at this point, I can understand why. But I want to explain why. Who that says, Chris, be safe with the hurricane coming towards Florida. Yeah, I don't really worry about these things. I mean, we're going to get a lot of rain. We're definitely going to get some flooding. So I have to make sure I prepare places for all the stray cats to stay. We're probably going to bring a couple of the stray cats in the house because when it floods here, it gets close to the top of, not the top of our house. God, that would be terrible. That means there was basically a tsunami coming. But gets close to the top of where the bottom of our house is, if you understand what I mean. There's a space in between. And the cats can get trapped, so I'm going to try and do what I can. But I'm actually more worried about the outside cats that I take care of than anything else. Because if you remember in the beginning of this year, which by the way, the weather people were saying this was going to be the worst year for storms, and there are going to be thousands of storms happening this year, and blah, 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 all their fear tactics and everything. And there weren't many at all. But you remember in the beginning when they said, oh, the earliest Category 5 ever, which by the way was only 2 days. They make big deals out of nothing because media loves to scare people and get them to buy stuff. That Category 5 went across Jamaica, and it was basically about 50 to 100 miles away. The center was about 50 to 100 miles away from Jamaica, and it was a Category 5. And I remember when that was happening, I was watching actual live broadcasts from people that lived in Jamaica, and it literally looked like just a rainstorm. So I think, unfortunately, now, of course, you do have to be careful and you do have to be prepared, which I always am in advance. But in my opinion, I really think the media likes to overblow things and over dramatize things because it gets you to stay tuned in their channel, which gives them ad revenue, and it gets people to go out to stores and spend money. So I definitely appreciate the being safe. Uh, uh, I'm 100% sure that no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. But if you don't hear from me in a week or two, that means I'm somewhere out in the Gulf of Mexico, floating away out to sea. So, if at least then I'll at least be, shark food. So I'll still be providing for animals. So thank you to anybody with the well wishes. The hurricane is going to be either passing us or going towards us sometime, I believe, by either Wednesday night or Thursday. So I'll be well prepared at that point. All right, so let's see. See if there's any questions about comics, because that's why you guys are mostly here, I'm assuming. Uh, Louis V says, do you think 350 is worth it for UF4 polybagged? Not for you, of course, because you paid 45. Now remember, 45 includes the price of the grading fees for CGC, because at the time, the grading fee for CGC was like 28 bucks. That was back in 2016 or 2017. Considering where Ultimate Fallout 4 was about a year or two ago, in my opinion, as long as the book is not damaged, I think 350 is a pretty good deal. This is what I would recommend. If somebody, like, for example, is selling that book for 350 on eBay, even if they do not have a best offer, this is what I would do. I would message that person and say, "Hi, I see you have this Ultimate Fallout 4 first print for sale for buy it now at 350. Would you accept 300 for this book? If so, I could pay for it right now. If you can't, no problem, and I wish you the best luck of sale in your sale." You'd be amazed at how many people that I've done things like that to have who even said no came back and then accepted my offers. So I would absolutely ask for a deal, because the beautiful thing is Ultimate Fallout 4 is not a rare book. Now, if you can find a newsstand variant, which I don't own any of, that's a rarer book, especially if you're talking 9.6 to a 9.8. If you can get your hands on a newsstand variant, buy as many as you can, and they're definitely not going to be cheap. But one thing I will highly recommend, and this is why I'm going to crack this one open, because like I said, back in 2016, when I got this graded by CGC, at that time I didn't know there was a thing called pressings and dry cleanings. So I just sent this in and got a 9.2. Now, the biggest thing about the polybagged issue is that to rip open the bag, there's a little like a overlap on the bag on the back. And a lot of times it creates even a faint little indent on the back of the book. Doesn't normally break color, but it will leave an indent. And that's why you can get grades like this. So I highly recommend getting this book pressed and dry cleaned, which eventually, like I said, I'm going to crack this open and I'm going to do just that. And it'll probably bump it up. Could go as high as a 9.8 because I don't see any other flaws with it. But that's a big thing about this book. Now, I want to explain to you, and you can anybody can thumb this up or thumb it down, whatever you want to do. But when it comes to buying anything, first thing I'm going to say is if you have the money and you think it's a fair price and you've done your research, in other words, what I would recommend before you buy anything, see what that book has sold for recently and then the lowest it's sold for. Now, of course, it's going to show the reprints and the variants and the second prints. Make sure you type in first print and make sure you verify it's a first print when you check the prices. But the more work you do, the better chances. And always remember, because even books like this, like I said, are not rare. If a person is going to sell a book for more than what you are willing to pay, then don't do the fear of missing out and just buy it. Try and make a deal or wait for a deal to come up, because these books are a dime a dozen. Now, it's going to be harder to find than a 9.8, definitely going to be a lot more expensive. But the beautiful thing about buying the raw version is, just imagine you bought that book and you did get it for 350 and you get it pressed and dry cleaned and you send it to whatever grading service you want and it comes back a 9.8. Well, you're going to make some money. Now, The reason that I'm talking about this now, even though I've talked about it before, and many people are not talking about it, because when do people talk about stuff? When prices are shooting up. When do people stop talking about it? When prices go down. To me, those are buying opportunities. Now, I have not spent more than $15 on any raw Ultimate Fallout 4. At one point, I think I owned like 15 of them. At one point, I gave one away to a subscriber's son years ago. I was giving one away when I had my comic book flea market back in 2019 when I moved here to Florida. But here's my thinking about this and why I think this is the time to be buying this book, because I don't think it's going to get much lower. Again, you could find deals. The new Venom movie, Miles Morales is not going to be in it. Okay, let's just make that clear. But Sony is basically saying, without saying, and of course anything can change depending on contract deals they make with Disney, that the Venom movie that they're making is going to be the last Venom slash Spider-Man movie potentially coming from Sony Pictures. And they're supposedly making a deal. Now, I don't know if it's been official yet. So keep in mind, until they cross the T's and dot the I's, they have to deny everything, because basically you can influence stocks prices by giving, that would be basically insider trader information, which is illegal, unless you're Nancy Pelosi, then it seems to be okay. Um, but they can never, like that's why I was telling people back in the days when Disney was acquiring Fox. They denied, but I knew it was going to happen because I know all about contracts. You cannot say anything until the deal's done. So you have to deny it and you have to basically lie, because if you said it was going to get done, people could get so excited and all of a sudden they decide to go buy Disney stocks. And if all of a sudden the deal breaks off and doesn't happen, that stock's going to plummet and people will sue the living daylights out of the people. So I don't know if it's officially been done yet, but basically Sony is realizing, and it's about time, but better late than never, that Disney, for the most part, does better making comic book movies. Now, that's debatable, the last phase, but if you're comparing Disney to Sony, I mean, let's be real. The first Venom was okay. I mean, it wasn't great, it wasn't astonishing, but it wasn't horrible. It was average. Venom 2 was a mess and was mediocre. And to have Woody Harrelson as playing Carnage, to me, I just thought that was a ridiculous thing, especially when they were using that curly-haired wig. Yeah, it just was bad. So I don't have a lot of positive things to say about Venom 3, of the chances of it being a great movie. But they're going to be relocating. In my opinion, I think Sony is going to start giving more availability to characters going forward with Disney and Marvel Studios. Now, what does it have to do with Miles Morales? Well, if that does happen, it is a matter of time before both Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, which is another book I've highly recommended, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, another book, again, I've been telling people to get since 2016. Um, it's just a matter of time, well, while they're doing, because originally Disney wanted to have Spider-Man 4 to be more grounded, more street level. But Sony wants it to be just like the last Spider-Man movie, more multiverse and more, big time stuff. Why? Because that brings them more money. And basically, they need money because they're not making money making movies on their own. So, continuing with the multiverse and knowing what we know about Secret Wars, where multiverses are collapsing, if you know about the history of Miles Morales, you know that his universe was collapsing and he ended up in the main MCU, well, the main Marvel comic timeline. I have a feeling, because as you can see, DEI is still alive and well. I will not be watching the Agatha It was Agatha all along. I won't be watching it because when they labeled it by saying it was the gayest comic book show, as soon as I heard that, totally, I really had zero desire to see it. But after when they were doing interviews, they were saying this. It's not like some YouTuber was saying it. The people interviewing the people who play the TV show were saying this. I basically went from zero interest to like -10 interest in watching it. So they're not done with DEI. Now, the good thing is many people like Miles Morales because Miles Morales came out, what was it, in 2011. So before anybody was really getting into, I think like the major changes happened around Ghostbusters 2016. That's when people started to realize something's going wrong in Hollywood. So back in 2011, this was just a new idea that they were doing. I've always liked Miles Morales. I've recommended him for the longest time. So I really have a feeling in my gut that at some point in this phase, there will be, in my opinion, a live action version of Miles Morales, probably either during or after Secret Wars, because of the fact that Sony is giving a lot more availability to Disney and Marvel to use their characters in Disney and Marvel movies instead of Sony movies. And Sony knows they can make a lot of money by doing this. To me, it's a no-brainer. So most people, if they don't own this book, when are they going to buy it? If that announcement ever happens, that's when most people will buy it. What will the price be at that time? Let's put it this way. If you can get that book for 350 now, and then all of a sudden in a year or two from now, they do an announcement that Miles Morales is going to be in the next Avengers movie or or Secret Wars or what have you, and it'll be live action. That book, you'll be lucky if you get it for 800, 900. So the idea is to buy them before it happens. Buy them when nobody's talking about it. And here's the benefit of a channel like mine. Very few people watch my channel, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So, those that listen to my advice over the years, from what I've read from people in comments and messages I've gotten from plenty of people, when they listen to my advice, they do well. If you want to listen to the majority of people who will talk about what I call the flavor of the month with brand new comics, or talk about a book when it's already at its peak, or tell you to stay away from a book because, it dipped a little bit, you are welcome to listen to anybody you want to. I try and help people to be able to spend less money, to turn around and sell something for more money, and use that extra money to be able to upgrade to buy something they may not have been able to afford before. Because, like, for example, let's assume I crack this open, and let's assume, by the grace of the comic gods, after pressing and dry cleaning, let's assume this becomes a 9/8. And let's assume that what I'm predicting will happen. To me, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So, but there is a lot of ifs in this. Because remember, with any investment, there is the risk of something not happening or you losing your money or blah, blah, blah. But that's why the best time to buy these books is when they are cheap or affordable or going down in price. This character is not going away. You could just look at the video games they did recently and how popular they were. Now, I can understand that there are going to be people who won't like Miles Morales and say, well, he's not Spider-Man, because, I mean, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But I like the fact, and I think many people would agree, that why they like Miles Morales is they didn't kill off Peter Parker and he became Spider-Man. Or they didn't write him as to pretend that Peter Parker never existed. This was always Spider-Man. What they did is they said there was another universe where a spider ended up biting a different character. So you had Peter Parker in one universe, you had Miles Morales in another. So even though they are similar characters, they are two separate characters. So they're not taking an established character and just changing them for the sake of DEI inclusion. And because they did this character, created this character back in 2011, and realistically, many people may not know this. The reason that they were creating Miles Morales is the fact that if you understand anything about licensing and trademark, you can only trademark something for 100 years. And then after that point, it becomes public domain. And unless there's some sneaky way that companies can extend it. Like if you saw about a year or two ago that the original Steamboat Willie cartoon of the original black and white Mickey Mouse became it was over 100 years, so they lost their trademark ownership of it, so anybody could make the video. Now I think Disney did something sneaky and stopped it from happening, but the majority, that's why, for example, when you get royalty free music like Beethoven and stuff like that, after a certain time period, which is 100 years, it becomes public domain. And at one point, Disney or Marvel, I'm not sure who was owning it at the time, was concerned that they could end up eventually losing the rights to Peter Parker, because it will happen eventually. Um, eventually, Marvel and Disney will lose all the rights to their characters. Same with DC, because remember, Superman came out in 1938. So in the year um, 2038, which isn't too far away, DC will no longer own the rights to Superman. But that's why they do different versions, because then the 100 years starts from that character's specific point. So you could look that up. That's actually very interesting of why they made Miles Morales. But he caught on. People liked him. I like his personality. I've always recommended this book. Price has gone down in a while. I was telling people, like I said, to buy this book when it was $10 to $12. Most people didn't buy. When did most people buy it? When it was going up to 800, 900, 1,000. And if you could find Ultimate Fallout 4, the 1 in 25 variant, which I own a signed 9.8 of. I used to own two 9.8s, but I sold one back in 2019, which to this day I still regret. Same thing with the 1 in 25 variant of Edge of Spider-Verse 2. I regret it because it was my only copy. If you can get those books, nab them. But to me, like I said, it's a matter of when they put Miles Morales in. And I think they'll first show him in an end credit scene. Now, I can't tell you which movie that is, and I can't tell you if that's going to happen. This is just my guess. This is not inside information or anything like that. But I just know how companies tend to work. And that's why I've been right so many times. And that's why I don't make videos that often about buying comics, because you can go back on my channel and look all the way back in 2016, 2017, 2018, where I was telling people to buy those books when nobody else was talking about them. So that's my recommendation. Constipated in the City says that was Felix the Cat that is open to public domain. Steamboat Willie, public domain is 2028. You sure about that? Because I remember they were talking about Mickey Mouse, but it was the black and white version. And the first cartoon where you see Mickey Mouse on that boat is called Steamboat Willie. Now, like I said, I believe Disney did something that can extend it. So that might be the case, because you're saying it's public domain in 2028. But eventually, everybody loses their rights for characters. So that's why a lot of times they'll redo. That's why when they did the Death of Superman, he came back as several different versions of Superman, because when DC loses the rights to Superman, they'll still own the rights to all the other versions of Superman that were created out of that back in the 90s. So you'd have a whole, basically, another century. Yeah, Steamboat Willie. Oh, it is in 1928. Well, I wonder why they were talking about that, because I remember, unless there's some Mandela effect that I'm unaware of happening to me, I could have sworn they were talking about how Disney was losing the rights to Mickey Mouse and Steamboat Willie a year or two ago. If anybody else remembers that, put that in the live chat or in the comments section. Or maybe I'm just getting old, senile, and crazy. Who knows? But even still, 2028, not very far away, considering we're getting close to 2025, which is kind of scary if you think about it, because, back in the 60s, the Jetsons were saying that we'd have flying vehicles and talking robots and stuff. And yeah, we don't, well, we have talking robots, but at least AI, but the only talking robots I've ever seen are in fast food like places. But Funhouse says, "Am I on the pay no mind list, Chief? What do you mean?" Oh, you saw I didn't see the comment. Sorry about that. How did Sony how did Sony wind up able to keep all Spider-Verse related characters in their content and Disney got everything else? Um that's a very good question. I don't know the answer to that one. Basically, it would have to be, I guess, whatever was agreed upon in the contracts. The contracts could have said, you know, all the Spider-Verse characters, future and present. So without seeing the contract, I wouldn't know, but I would assume that's the case, that something was written in the contract that when they made the deal that they would have maybe future rights to any new Spider-Man villains. I'm not sure. I guess you'd have to talk to a contract lawyer about that one. So, apologize, I wasn't on the trying to not see your comment. But let's see, Constipated in the City says they have the trademark the S on Superman's chest. Well, I mean, if you want a hero, just have, write the letter S on him. But it doesn't matter. I'm sure they'll always find a way. But my whole point is Ultimate Fallout 4, definitely a book I've been talking about for years. Absolutely think now that the price has gone down to what I feel for people who've never owned it before to be a reasonable price. Now, for me, I'm not spending $350 on that book because of the fact I still have at least 5 or 6 copies, and I've spent no more than $12 on any of them, except for the prices that I paid to get them graded. I personally wouldn't spend $350 unless if I can get a graded 9.8 for 350, I'd buy that all day and every day. I'd borrow all the money I can from whoever I can because I know that's a guaranteed moneymaker. But if you've never owned that book before and you've been waiting, if you wait too long and try and find rock bottom prices, a lot of times you'll miss out. So if you don't own this book, now's the time to get it. Now, I'm not suggesting they're making an announcement tomorrow. I'm not suggesting they're making an announcement this year. I'm not even saying that this is something that's going to guarantee to happen. What I'm saying is, if anything, it's a likable character. It's an established character at this point, whether you like them or not. They're not going away. And I just think with the things that they're doing still, with less and less, hopefully, DEI, um, I think it's just a no-brainer that Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, are two books that you should be buying right now while the prices have stayed a little bit lower than what they were a year or two ago, which basically you could say almost about pretty much every comic because of the fact of the pandemic, um, with all the quote unquote free money that people were getting, they were spending it on stuff left and right, thinking, it'd be endless supply of money for the rest of their lives. But at least some of us were smart enough to invest their money in comic books or other collections. Like I was also buying, when I was getting that money, I was buying things like silver bars and stuff like that. Um, most of my neighbors during all that time, they were having parties every week. That money's never coming back to you in any way, shape, or form. So some of us, including many of my viewers, were smart enough to spend some of that money, even though you spent maybe a little bit more than what they are currently worth, on things that will give you some form of return. If you bought a book during the peak at 1,000 and it's worth 600 now, first of all, you only lose money if you sell something because you never know, things can rebound and change. But even if you have a $400 loss, just imagine if you spent that $1,000 on a vacation, or that $1,000 going to a strip club, or $1,000, going out buying your friends drinks at a bar. Well, you get zero back then. So that's why it's really good to do investments, but be wise about your investments, be knowledgeable about your investments. And if anybody thinks this is a good idea for their book, Let me know if you think it's a horrible idea and you think I'm totally stupid for saying it. Put it in the comment section. Give us a reason why. And for everybody, thank you so much for commenting. It's nice to see people in the comment section in the live chat. Let me see right here. Sony also owns Disney Motown Records, Lucasfilms. George Lucas is mad how they messed up Star Wars legacy. I can understand it. Star Wars, I mean, I watched the original Star Wars in 1977 when I was 6 years old, between 5 and 7 times in the movie theater. It was the greatest movie. Luke Skywalker was my hero. And especially hearing Mark Hamill nowadays, I mean, he's gone bat poop crazy, in my opinion, these days with some of the things he says. Um, I mean, talk about never meeting your heroes. I'm glad I've never met him. I don't care what they do with Star Wars now. I will never spend a dime on any Star Wars movie ever or watch any Star Wars TV show. They have destroyed it. And, Lucas sold it. They promised that they would, stay true to the legacies, and they basically lied. But once a contract is signed, there's nothing he can do about it. But yeah, what they did to Star Wars, and then to attack these fans by calling them transphobic, homophobic, racist, and sexist, and blah blah blah. I mean, it's just pure insanity. But people have the right to be insane if they want to. But it doesn't mean they're not free from consequences from their insanity. And eventually, at least I hope, we'll get some normalcy back again. Gary Hahn, good to see you, says, I'm dumping all my modern and non-key Silver Age comics to fund Golden Age keys, Cap 1, 3, 37, 46, All-Star 3 and 8. Good luck with All-Star 8. That's a great book, but definitely not cheap. More fun 52 and 55. Smart move. No, I don't blame you for that at all. That's why I haven't bought, I think, as far as modern books, I've maybe bought 5 in the past 3 or 4 years, maybe 10, and they were variants. I used to have on my channel weekly comic book Wednesdays, new books every week. In the past, I think it's been 5 years since I've done videos like that, because I think, in my opinion, most of the modern stuff is pure garbage. Now, of course, there's always some good stuff, and art is speculative, so just because I might think stuff is garbage doesn't mean you have to. You could totally disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But that's why I've basically focused, like, this to me, the one that I recommended, Ultimate Fallout 4, to me that's probably the furthest of the modern books I would go. I mean, maybe, like I said recently, I did a video showing that I bought The Boys comic, issue 1 through 3 I bought. So that's fairly recent. I think that was what, I don't know what year that came out. But not many modern books really retain their value. But you never know, because remember, books like New Mutants 98, Amazing Spider-Man 300, even Superman Action Comics #1 at one point was a modern book. So sometimes it takes time. Like I tell people in the video I did the other day, Amazing Spider-Man 300, New Mutants 98, nobody cared about those books for over a decade or two. I remember when New Mutants 98 came out, people thought it was a joke. Everybody cared about New Mutants 87, first full appearance of Cable. And look how much they've switched over the years. So you never know. Time, if something is of quality, first of all, if something's of quality, you don't have to force people or trick people or convince people to go buy it, use it, or hear it. If something's good, people will naturally gravitate to it. I mean, just look at Wolverine Deadpool. They didn't have to call people homophobic who didn't watch it. They didn't have to insult people. They didn't have to make excuses. It was a good movie. They had good writing. It was funny. They minimalized the DEI because there was some in there, but not to the extreme. And it made, what is it, 1.2 billion, 1.25 billion? Nobody really owns an 8-track tape player anymore. And if they do, it's an antique that they have that they bought for nostalgia reasons. Nobody buys an 8-track tape to put in their new vehicle. So I don't care how many people say, "Oh, it's cool to have an 8-track," or "You're a racist if you don't buy an 8-track." You know, people buy what they like. People watch what they like. You cannot force people. That's why, the Agatha All Along, for example, if you want to watch that show or you think it's great, more power to you. But there is nothing they can say that would ever convince me, or anybody can say that would convince me to watch that garbage, because that's just my opinion. And the only way to make true change in anything is to speak through your pocketbook or through your wallet. Businesses lose enough money, they either go out of business or they change their business. If we just keep going back and forth and giving people attention, even if it's negative, and I talked about this in the video I did yesterday, when you have even negative on YouTube, for example, you'll get more traffic. I mean, just look, I got like 10 new subscribers, and I'm sure I got 20 thumbs down in this video from those people. Potentially, I don't know. I don't ever check because I don't care. But that just means I got that much more traffic. People have to learn to stop being manipulated. It's unfortunately too easy for people to manipulate people. But good things work. To me, in my opinion, Miles Morales is a good thing. You could disagree, and that's fine. But the sales of the Miles Morales version of his video games suggest that the majority of people like him. So, in my opinion, Sony would be crazy to not utilize that character. Now, I think it's going to be a little while because, of course, you have Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but I don't think they'll replace Tom Holland with some new actor to play Miles Morales. I think they'll just combine, but we'll see. All right, we got Sequential Geek. Good to see you. He says, "Yeah, it's insane how messed up things are. There's nothing reliable anymore in general." The beautiful thing is, as they say, it is always darkest before dawn. This stuff is a phase. To me, the world has gone insane for the past, since I would probably say since about 2015. And it's got gradually worse in its insanity. And there are many people, even on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, who will take advantage of the insanity so they can have opportunities to make money. To me, I find that highly unethical, but is 100% allowed. I mean, you could bash somebody's channel all you want, whether the stuff is true or fabricated. Um, if it gets you views, and if that's what you want to do, you know, you might not be the most ethical person in the world, but you have the right to do it. But like I said in the video yesterday, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So yeah, things have been crazy, but I don't think it's going to last forever. There's always a balance. When something starts tipping the scale too much, eventually equilibrium happens. So I think that's why, like you could see, Disney and Marvel, with their previous phase of TV shows and movies, pretty much bombed. None of them made $1 billion or even close. Many of them lost money. And now you're seeing a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine. The reason you're seeing stuff like the Agatha movie and the Thunderbolts, which is another one that I'll never waste my money on. It's another DEI garbage. They already had those already made. So they have to put them out because they spent so many, whatever amounts of millions of dollars, especially in reshoots and stuff like that. They can't just ditch every movie that they've invested, hundreds of millions of dollars in. But I think there's going to come a point where they're going to stop doing it if they're smart. But we'll wait and see because it shows just because you have a poop ton of money does not make you wise and highly intelligent. It just means you have a lot of money. It's how you utilize it. So I really think it's just a matter of time. Stay hopeful. You know, by their deeds you shall know them. I said that also yesterday. Um, I wouldn't worry about what's temporary. And that's why you're seeing people, at one point prank channels used to be the thing. Now most people don't watch them anymore. The drama on YouTube is just childish and ridiculous. Eventually it all goes away and it changes. So stay positive and just look forward to the future. Don't worry about the naysayers and the negative Nancy's and the people who do rude things and nasty things and instigate garbage all over YouTube and all over the internet. Um, People can do it. It's their right, but things are going to change eventually and it'll be better. So stay focused and stay positive. Sequential Geeks, Constipated in Sin City says, I knew that Luke Skywalker would still be alive. George Lucas is planning on putting another episode that would be retroactive to 3 films. Back Han Solo would be alive. Even if that's the case, I mean, Carrie Fisher is gone. She's no longer with us. You can't use Princess Leia. Even if they do all that, I still would not, unless Lucas bought the rights back and did movies, if he financed movies himself and had nothing to do with Disney at all, then I would probably watch it. But, I mean, I could quote the movies Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, which, by the way, when I was a kid, I knew that it was originally supposed to be called Revenge of the Jedi. That was back in like 81. I already knew back then as a kid, and this is way before the internet, but we knew it was supposed to originally be called Revenge of the Sith, not Revenge of the Jedi, not Return of the Jedi. But I mean, I hated the prequels. The voice acting for the aliens was laughable. Jar Jar Binks, don't get me started. I don't care if there really was a secret hidden thing about him being a Sith Lord. It was just wildly comical and not in a good way. The third movie in the original in the prequels was okay, but I don't like how they created Darth Vader. You know, there's just so many other ways they could have done it. It just made no sense. And the last 3 Disney movies, garbage in my opinion, and just rehashes of A New Hope, the first one. It's just, and you're entitled to like, and I'm talking about anybody, you're entitled to like whatever you want. Just because I don't like something, because maybe I'm an old fart at this point, that's perfectly fine. I'm never going to tell you if you like what I don't like. That doesn't make you bad, just makes you different. And the beautifulness of this world, if we really wanted true diversity, as some people claim that they want, then we should all respect and appreciate everybody's right to have an opinion because everybody's opinion is supposed to be their own. Otherwise, what's the sense? If you had a billion people on the planet all thinking and acting and looking and talking the same way, well, then what would be the purpose of humanity if everybody's the exact same entity? Makes no sense to me. But I think differently. So let's read a couple more comments and then we'll get going. If you like this, you can hit the thumbs up. If you want to ask another question or two, by all means, please do. Constipated in the City says, don't forget how Michael B. Jordan will be the next Superman. I'm not going to watch it. Not because I'm racist or anything, but Superman is a white character. And just to show that I'm not full of hypocrisy, if they had a new Black Panther movie and they hired a white actor to play Black Panther, I wouldn't watch that either. See, it's got to be all or nothing. So, Superman, the original Superman, was white. Can't apologize for that. It's not a racist statement, it's just a fact. Some may get triggered by it, but that means that person's just way too sensitive. Needs to relax. I don't want a man playing the part of Wonder Woman. I forget the name of the character, but I'm sure somebody will let me know about it. I think it was North Star from Alpha Flight. I think it's issue 109. It's either 106 or 109. I believe it's 106, but correct me. It's either one of the two, where North Star was told that he was a gay character. If they ever use that character in a movie, I don't want him being played as straight. I don't want Blade to be anything other than a black superhero. So you got to go in all directions when it comes to this. Otherwise, it's hypocrisy. So if you think having a black Superman is worth watching, great. But it doesn't make me a racist to say that I want what's originally created. And that's why I said, to me, Wesley Snipes is Blade. Luke Cage is a black superhero. I don't want to see a white person play it. I don't want to see a black woman play Luke Cage. Does that make me sexist? People will say that, but those people are ignorant people. So Hollywood will eventually learn. And when that movie does not make money or enough money, eventually they stop. It's when people keep putting their energy into negativity, even if they're just going to go to a video to thumb it down, or go to like, for example, if Disney makes another Star Wars show and it's total DEI garbage, if you go there just to leave a nasty comment, you're giving them ad revenue. These people know how to trick people. And even like movie studios do it, governments do it, Hollywood does it, media does it, and people just base things too much on emotion. If you want things to change, you got to learn how to control that. And that's why when I talked about answering a question from yesterday's video, somebody messaged me that somebody, which I mean, I know I have Trojan horses in my crowd. I don't care. But supposedly there's another video about me. I don't know what it is. Don't care. But all of a sudden I got a whole bunch of new traffic. So it just proves my point, how people can easily be taken advantage of and used for other people's ability to um, make ad revenue. Just silly to me, but I wish anybody that does that well. Let's see. Constipated in the City. I have the Revenge of the Jedi poster. Wesley Snipes should be the Black Panther. He's a little too old to be playing Black Panther, my good friend. Sequential Geek says, psyched to hear Void Rivals is working out. I hope they have an ongoing. Is Void Rivals ongoing? I have no idea what that is, so I can't even answer that question. Um, I like this new name. All right, welcome a new person. Broke Mo Howard, UHF TV channel 33. Mo Howard, by the way, is Mo from the Three Stooges, unless you're talking about a different Mo who ended up dying broke, unfortunately. I love that name. Thank you. Says hi, Chris, and everybody in the chat. Welcome. Nice to see a bunch of new people in the live chat. Let's see. Sequential Geek, what up at Broke Mo? Okay, saying hello to Broke at Mo Howard. Constipated in the City says Wesley Snipes was supposed to be in Black Panther, then he went to prison for tax evasion. Yeah, that could cause a problem unless they did basically all his scenes like he was maybe captured and brought to a prison. Then it would have worked out great. But yeah, I remember when that happened with Wesley Snipes. Did anybody notice when Wesley Snipes, I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't watched Wolverine and Deadpool and you don't know about this, when Wesley Snipes first walks in, it was weird. He looked like he might have had like a spinal injury or something. Because he was literally, when he walked in, it was kind of like he was too straight and his head was like this. He was walking sideways. He looked very stiff. But I guess when you get a certain age, you know, my body doesn't work the way it used to, unfortunately. Luckily, some parts still do. Knock on wood and knock on wood. Not that kind of wood, you perverts. But anybody else pick up on that when he first walks into that cave? Just look weird. So I don't know if he'd be able to. Maybe he physically can't do like a whole Blade movie. I would love to see him play Blade again, but it may just not happen. Maybe he's just not physically able to for whatever reason. But he definitely looked very stiff and like he was trying to hide something. I could be wrong, but let's hear it. Let's see. Jacob says he's too old for sure. Yeah. All right, so we're going to leave it at that. This is a long video. I want to thank everybody, especially the people with the well wishes for the up and coming potential hurricane coming. If you want to critique my AI art, I actually just made this last night. Absolutely love how AI art is coming at this point. I find this image very stunning. If you want to critique it, either positive or negative, please let me know in the comments section. Don't forget, join my Patreon at patreon.com/we love comics. Your contributions not only help me with this, continue this channel and getting the comics and hopefully videos that you guys love, but it also helps me because I take care of between 20 and 25 stray cats twice a day, every day. So a lot of the money will go towards cat food. We take them to the vet. I've gotten them all fixed, spayed and neutered so that doesn't continue the problems. So your support is always helpful. Your name will be placed on here if you become a paid member, no matter what amount you put. The highest amount that somebody contributes will make that person's name always be last. So if you want to know what that is, you can always contact me. And remember, if you go to patreon.com/, we love comics and join in and become a paid member, once we get to 20 paid members, I got some giveaways that I want to start giving away. So we're close, but we're not there yet. More people that join, the better the tiers get, and that will be every month once we get to 20 paid members. Again, you don't have to have a minimum to join, other than the minimum to join anybody's Patreon, which is $2 a month. But you'll get one entry for every $2 you put into your We Love Comics account. And again, I'm trying to find some trades. If you have any of these books or know anybody that has maybe an extra book of these, or they're sick of it and they want to try and get a bunch of other comics that they want in their collection, contact me peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com and let's get a trade happening. So thanks for watching, everybody. Let's do today's surprise subscriber shout out. I always pick two people in the live chat, so we're going to gotta go one with Mo Howard, Broke Mo Howard, UHF TV channel 33. You are the first surprise subscriber shout out. And then, let's see. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. If anybody knows what that's from, put that in the live chat. If you know what movie and who says the following. No, 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 no. I'll give you a hint. I believe it's a 70s movie. It's a comedy. Eric J., you will be our other surprise subscriber shout out. What does that entail, you ask? Well, once the video uploads and you're able to leave a comment, you can post a link. If you have a YouTube channel, you could post a link telling everybody you're the surprise subscriber shout out. And you could post a link either to a specific video if you want people to watch a specific video, or a link to your YouTube channel where hopefully people will visit and maybe subscribe to your channel. If you don't have a YouTube channel, or you'd prefer to do a link to one of your social networks, maybe you have a Facebook page or an Instagram or a TikTok account, you could post a link to that instead. Or if maybe you sell anything on Facebook Marketplace or Instagram or, you know, Amazon or eBay, and you want to do a link to one of your sales, I'll let you decide which link you want to do. Now, they don't have to be comic book related, but they're going to do the best here because this is a comic book channel. But it does have to be something suitable for all ages. In other words, I will not promote a prank channel. I will not promote somebody, selling ladies' undergarments, for example. Nothing inappropriate. So if you post a link, it's automatically going to go to spam, so you're not going to see it right away. The reason is, and GT Key Comic, good to see you. Got it right. Caddyshack, Chevy Chase. Very nice job with that. Um, what was I saying? Oh, the link will not show up right away. The reason is I make it so any link automatically goes into spam. So this way it keeps trolls and keeps spammers from putting inappropriate links onto my channel. Because I'm basically smarter than those people, and that's why you've never seen an inappropriate link on my channel. So if you do see a link, that means I did check it. I did verify it's going to take you where it says it's going to, and I approve it. So if you see a link, that means it's been approved. So go check them out and support. Because if we want to be a real comic book community, petty fighting and silly name calling and stuff really is not productive. It's not a community. What is a community? A community helps one another. A community inspires one another. A community cheers on one another. So if you want to be a part of a real comic book community and somebody posts a link from the surprise subscriber shout out, let's go support them. Let's give them a reason, an incentive to make another video, to do something inspiring. This world has been filled with hate. This world has been filled with exclusion and insults. It's very petty, it's very childish, and it needs to stop. And how do you stop it? By speaking positive, by sharing love, by doing things kind, by being full of empathy, giving, cheering people on, posting something positive, getting friends or family members back when they need you, helping a stranger. That's how we make the world a better place. And that's why I appreciate the very few people that are kind enough to come and visit this little no name of a channel. Thank you to all the new people that subscribe for whatever reason you did it. I don't care about intent. I appreciate that you're spending some time with me, and I love living in the head rent free of individuals. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button or dislike button. Thank you for hitting subscribe. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, say it with me. It is not you. It is not I. It is We Love Comics. And before I go, Broke Mo Howard says, I got some comics from you last year, Chris. So great conditions. Did you get it via an auction or did you get it from a mystery box? Because if you did, like for example, if you got it from a mystery box, if you have a video about it, post that link to my channel. I'll be more than happy to share it and hopefully get you a couple of viewers. But I've never seen your name before. That's definitely a name that I would not forget. So hopefully we'll hear from you more often. As you notice, in my live chat. And if you're just getting here or whatever, read the live chat. There's no insults. There's no people attacking each other. It's just people here to have fun. And that's why I actually appreciate my channel being smaller than it once was when I shut down my original We Love Comics channel. To me, this is quality over quantity. So thank you for the positivity, everybody. Thank you for showing the comic book community what a community could be. And I really appreciate it. Yeah, Broke says, mystery books, my brother got it for me. Cool. Post if he did a video about it, post a link. And if he didn't, maybe you should do a video showing the books. And if you do that, post the link on my channel. I will approve it, and hopefully you'll get some viewers and everything. So if you've never done a video before, that'd be a cool one to start, and I'll help promote it because, like I said, that's what a real community is about. Anybody can insult and make fun of people and make accusations about people. Um, it's a lot more challenging for people these days to be helpful and to be positive. So thank you to everybody here that chose to take that route. Really appreciate it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate all the views. Look forward to your comments. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I said it, so we're going to say it again just in case. It's not you. It is not I. It is We Love Comics. Have a great day, everybody. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. I'm out.